Hey guys, it's Laura here again. Welcome to another video. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of OSPAAAL, the organization de Solidaridad de los Pueblos de Asia, África y América Latina. So let's get into it. OSPAAAL was an international non-governmental organization founded in 1966 in Havana, Cuba. It was created to promote unity and solidarity among liberation movements in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and to stand together against colonialism, imperialism, and global injustice. But what really set this organization apart was how it used art and design as a powerful form of political communication. At the heart of OSPAAAL's strategy was visual culture. The organization became known for its iconic posters, bold, colourful, and always rich with symbolism. These weren't just posters to decorate a wall, they were political tools, powerful expressions of resistance and unity. OSPAAAL's main distribution platform was a publication called Tricontinental magazine. This magazine was published in 4 languages, Spanish, English, French, and Arabic, and reached readers around the globe. Folded within the pages of each issue was a detachable poster that could be removed and displayed. It was a clever way of spreading revolutionary ideas far and wide, especially during a time when communication networks were limited. From the very start, Tricontinental wasn't just a magazine, it was a vehicle to deliver these posters directly into people's hands. The first offset printed posters were folding into the magazine in 1967 and 1968. The magazine became as much a gallery as it was a publication. Many of the posters' impact comes from the unique tension, the flat stillness of paper contrasted with the imagery's call for action and motion. You'll often see arrows, shattering typography, cracked or collapsing text, and visual metaphors for breaking bonds or unfolding change. These compositions weren't subtle, they demanded attention. The content of Tricontinental came from liberation struggles around the world, from Palestine to Angola, Vietnam to the Black Panthers in the US. But the actual poster designs were all produced by a small committed team of Cuban designers working in a Havana studio. This friction between global stories and local design had both pros and cons. On one hand, artists like Rafael Morante, who had never been to Laos or Vietnam, weren't constrained by political specifics or local imagery, which freed them up to experiment graphically. On the other hand, this meant the posters sometimes lacked concrete details about those struggles. Still, by leaning into general symbols of unity and resistance, the designers found a language that could resonate globally, bold, energetic, and always in motion. The first of these posters was created by OSPAAAL's long-standing art director Alfredo Rostgaard in 1967, titled Create 2-3 Many Vietnams. It was inspired by Che Guevara's famous phrase. Rostgaard used what he called the mosaic of repetition technique, repeating the image to make the most out of the limited printing materials available in Cuba at the time. It was a smart, resourceful approach that set the tone for the posters that followed. OSPAAAL's approach to visual design wasn't just about making posters. They were creating tools for change, using whatever they had to hand to make their message loud and clear. Another key figure in OSPAAAL's visual legacy was Elena Serrano, one of the few women working in the organization's graphic design team. Her 1968 poster, Day of the Heroic Guerrilla, is one of the most iconic to come out of the movement. Designed in a bold op art style, the image pays tribute to Che Guevara, who had been killed the year before. Radiating lines burst out from a central point of Che, creating a powerful sense of movement and energy, as though his revolutionary spirit is rippling outward across the globe. The poster doesn't just commemorate a fallen leader, it visually conveys how Che's ideals of anti-imperialism and liberation were being embraced by resistance movements everywhere. In this way, Serrano's work captured the dream of global solidarity that OSPAAAL stood for. One particularly powerful example of OSPAAL's international reach was its collaboration, albeit unofficial, with American artist and Black Panther graphic designer Emory Douglas. In the 1970 poster Solidarity with the African American People, 18th of August, Cuban designer Lázaro Abreu used an illustration originally created by Douglas as the central image. In terms of production, OSPAAL mostly relied on offset lithography, a cost-effective mass printing technique that builds images by layering colored dots. This allowed them to produce thousands of posters for global circulation, all folded into Tricontinental magazine. Although less common in their workshop, they also used silkscreen printing from time to time. Both approaches reflected their commitment to visual clarity, accessibility, and maximum reach, all despite Cold War era resource scarcity. Despite the resource restrictions of Cold War era Cuba, OSPAAL's visual language remained bold, experimental, and impactful. Their designers made use of collage, bright colors, and graphic symbolism to produce posters that felt both urgent and timeless. These posters reflected everything from the Vietnam War to anti-apartheid struggles, Cuban socialism, and Palestinian resistance. At its peak in 1989, Tricontinental magazine had a circulation of over 30,000 copies, reaching 87 countries across the globe. OSPAAL was most active between the 1960s and 1980s, becoming a hub of revolutionary messaging and a vital platform for international resistance movements. Even with limited resources, they managed to create a global visual campaign unlike anything else at the time. After more than 5 decades of activity, OSPAAL's Havana-based offices officially closed in 2019. Located in the historic Vedado neighborhood, the offices had included a working studio, a research base, a materials archive, and a historical repository documenting global liberation movements. Though the doors may have shut, the legacy they built of solidarity, creativity, and resistance lives on through the posters and the global movements they championed. Today, OSPAAL's posters are still widely admired, not just for their aesthetic power, but for their historical importance. They're studied in design schools, collected in archives, and exhibited in galleries. More than just art, these works are reminders of a global moment of solidarity where design played a vital role in shaping political consciousness. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning about OSPAAL and how design helped drive revolutionary movements. If there's any other topic or artist you'd love to learn more about, drop it in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when the next video goes live. See you on the next one. Bye!